Casino particularly is a film that Marty had thought out very carefully, all of those montages, all of his camera moves he had designed so they would cut together. They were very specific, very extreme, very hard to do, but a lot of that, particularly the opening montages, were thought out so that basically for me it was a matter of cutting them together and then just finessing a little bit the cut, but the structure of them was already thought out by him. One example I use sometimes because it's the easiest to understand is when he has the montage where he shows how everybody's watching everybody.
The boxmen are watching the dealers. The floormen are watching the boxmen.
I really literally only had to cut off the head and the tail, stick it together, and it worked already because he had already planned out how he was going to go from the dealer to the boxman and to the pit boss they were all swish pans, so that's really good directing when you're thinking like that and imagining a whole sequence and then carrying it out beautifully. And if you look at the way Marty shot Bob coming out of that door, he intended for it to be used again at the end, and he had shot it 3 different ways. So he always intended for it to be used that way, so it was just a matter of me, again, carrying out what he had designed. We did think a lot about how to do the cuts, particularly inside the car when he sees suddenly smoke coming out of the dashboard and he knows what's up. And so we did experiment a lot with cutting that. But he had already thought it all out, Marty. You know, he knew he was going to use this device as bookends.
And there's always an issue with length. Part of it has to do with the economics, because if you get past a certain length, the exhibitor loses a show. And instead of having like 3 shows a night or 4 shows a night, they'll have 2 shows a night. And that's a major, major problem for a lot of exhibitors.
Studio, Tom Pollock told me, Marty, please don't make it 3 hours. I said, but believe me, it's going to be, it's going to be fast, And the main thing is I try to make it entertaining. I try to make it as entertaining as possible and make a fast 3-hour picture. Some people have told me they thought it was pretty quick. Others, no.
It was the first time that I had ever used digital editing, and I had a wonderful assistant who trained me named Scott Brock, and he really taught me how to do it. But it took a little bit of time before I was really comfortable with it. But then I kicked in and I was off and running, and I did find it was very useful for experimentation, that I would think nothing of ripping into a scene and trying another version of it. Also, the fact that we could run many more tracks was very helpful because of the complex music texture of the movie.
I mean, I wish to God Nicky and his whole crew would just get lost. What am I going to do, go back home and start a war?
The music was wall-to-wall, there's no doubt. And I had a big chart on the wall as to which piece of music I was going to use. Some music I've used before in pictures. Robbie Robertson helped me at times. He suggested even the music from Le Mépris. He gave it to me. I said, why not?
For the money.
He needed some clothes.
And then originally the film was going to open with the music I used at the end, the Animals version of House of the Rising Sun. And that's where the body was going to go be flying in the air, because that was designed. That's in the script. The script is very close to what the picture became. And then Saul and Elaine Bass put that title sequence together, and I thought it would be more interesting to blast it and have the sense of the music that is sacred music, the Bach music, the St. Matthew Passion, which is over the top, and sacred music, which is the soundtrack for a story about people who are profane.
The great Saul Bass and his wife Elaine, when they were asked to do the titles, of course, they just made this beautiful title sequence.
Marty would show usually just like the first reel, and he and Elaine would come back with some ideas, like 2 ideas, 3 ideas, choices. And they were always just amazing. And if you look at the other movies he had done before, I mean, it's just such visual, his graphics are amazing.
And they just brought us a title sequence of our main character falling slowly into hell. And it was such a great idea and beautifully realized. It was just perfect. They came to Las Vegas, shot all the Las Vegas lights, and went away and just came back with a little masterpiece.